Video games as a medium are no stranger to telling personal stories of individuals where characters have to reckon with their mysterious pasts, while simultaneously having to also deal with their current precarious situations. However, what sets Tomorrowhead Studios' Will Follow the Light apart from other similar types of games is the strength of its execution, as well as a willingness to experiment with some unique gameplay mechanics that we just don't get to see in a genre often deridingly referred to as walking simulators.
Port side!
Will Follow the Light kicks off its narrative at a slow, deliberate pace. You, in the shoes of an eponymous character, are tasked with simple maintenance tasks. Enter weather data about an incoming storm into the database, double-check the power backups for the nearby lighthouse, and, most importantly, brew yourself a cup of tea. It is during these quiet moments that we get to learn quite a bit about the character here. While an early radio call reveals that he has a son and isn't on the best of terms with his own father, photos and letters strewn around his house let us know that he once had a wife that may have left him due to Will's obsession with working at the Lighthouse. He has a pretty decent relationship with his son, and he actually likes to carve out wooden boats in his free time. While this knowledge doesn't do anything to directly help you out with the main story or its various puzzles, hints at this background information do quite a bit to round off Will as a character, and even give us a sort of glimpse into the relationship that he had with his wife and current friends with whom he works at the Lighthouse. These early parts also act as a clear indicator of one of the biggest strengths of Will Follow the Light, its atmosphere.
Has to be visible from the ship.
Thanks to the gorgeous visuals and sound design, there is a constant sense of dread in the air about the coming storm. The general isolation in which Will lives his life at the Lighthouse is also on full display, since, aside from a few radio conversations, it takes over an hour before you actually meet anyone else. After having run through his maintenance job, Will gets to sleep for the night. Rest, however, is short-lived, and he is quickly woken up thanks to a power failure and an SOS call on the radio. A boat is stuck in the waters and desperately needs help to survive the storm. And to make matters worse, the lighthouse's beacon isn't visible anymore. This entire early journey sets up the core adventure that makes up the heart of Will Follow the Light. Interestingly, they also serve as a great tutorial, giving you a look at almost all major gameplay mechanics that you will experience throughout your time with the game, except, of course, for one. Aside from walking around, reading notes, and talking to people, Will Follow the Light also happens to feature incredibly in-depth gameplay systems for two activities: sailing and dog sledding. The fact that both of these systems were really important for Tomorrowhead Studio feels quite evident, with just how much love and care went into them. Sailing, introduced as one of the first things you get to do in the game, involves weathering stormy waters while managing your different sails, making sure to not have the wrong sail open, all just to survive the risk of capsizing due to giant waves. Dog sledding, on the other hand, shows up a bit later into this game, once its main story has been properly kicked off. The dog sledding itself feels quite exhilarating, especially since you get to pick up speed quite quickly, and controlling it around the winding northern mountains can be a challenge that takes some getting used to. However, rather than feeling unresponsive due to shoddy game design, the sled instead feels a bit more realistic, and I could honestly imagine that wrangling several dogs through a snowstorm can't be easy in real life.
I have you in sight, Molly. Coming closer and we'll make for the harbor.
There aren't really any major gameplay mechanics in Will Follow the Light. Much of your time with the game is going to be spent walking around a variety of environments to look for clues, solve puzzles, or, on some rare occasions, interact with people. The puzzles don't get particularly complicated either. Most of them just tend to revolve around finding the right item to use on an object. Sometimes we even get some tile-based puzzles, like an early one where you have to guide a generator switch through all of its systems to enable backup power. It was clear that for Tomorrowhead Studio, the main focus was on telling a compelling story with interesting characters. Gameplay was just merely meant to be a delivery mechanism for the very plot itself. Just about every environment in Will Follow the Light is downright beautiful, from the stormy seas that kick off the game, to the view into the distance from the top of the lighthouse, and even the town and the ruins of Will's home. Sure, there is plenty of fog all over the place that tends to hide some of the finer details of the environment. However, rather than feeling like an obvious rendering trick that might feel distracting, the fog enhanced the general atmosphere, making Will feel even more alone despite being in the middle of a populated town. All of this visual fidelity is helped by the fact that Will Follow the Light also seems to be optimized quite well. Playing it on a PC with an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D CPU, 32GB of RAM, and a Radeon RX 7800 XT GPU at a resolution of 2560 by 1440, I was able to get stable frame rates throughout my time with it. Sure, I couldn't quite hit my typical targets of 100 FPS with maxed out graphics setting, but I was still able to get a solid 60 FPS most of the time, with the quieter moments even going as high as 80 FPS. Along with this, I never really faced any performance issues with the game either, be it micro stutters, hitches, or even just general sluggishness from potentially slow frame pacing. Considering the emphasis on the quality of the narrative in Will Follow the Light, voice acting is a make or break aspect for the game, and thankfully here it manages to keep a generally high level of quality all throughout. None of the characters you meet ever tend to feel out of place, and while there might be a few strange line deliveries here and there, often in an effort to enforce the camaraderie between Will and his colleagues, nothing ever felt grating enough to actively detract from the experience as a whole. Will Follow the Light is able to accomplish a rare feat for a walking simulator. It is able to remain interesting throughout its entire runtime. Many other games in this genre often start falling apart after exploring one or two interesting ideas, but the central narrative here was enough to keep me going throughout my runtime with it. Paired with gorgeous visuals, strong voice acting, and even some fun gameplay mechanics thrown in to shake things up every now and then, Will Follow the Light is an easy game to recommend to those who prefer more meat on the bone when it comes to video game stories. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.